Go.
Yali ho! Good evening, one and all, on the other side of screen. We welcome you all for today's webinar on the topic Building Resilience to Disaster Management. I am Shubham Oja, along with Anika Matada. For next 20 minutes, we will be talking about SAVE. We are students of Narmada Kalarex Public School, which is one of the best education institute in Bharuch. Before talking about resilience in disaster management, Anika, let us understand what is disaster management.
Yes, Shubham, I'd be pleased to let everyone know what is disaster management. Disasters can be caused by naturally occurring events such as earthquakes, hurricanes, flooding, or tornadoes, or they can be due to man made events, either accidental, such as a toxic spill or nuclear power plant event, or deliberately caused, such as various terrorist bombings and poisonings. Disaster management can be defined as the organization and management of resources and responsibilities for dealing with all humanitarian aspects of emergency, in particular preparedness, response, and recovery, in order to lessen the impact of disasters. Natural disasters are occurring at an increasing rate and harm the world's different countries and people disproportionately. Building resilience means reducing people's exposure to natural hazards and improving their ability to cope with and recover from shocks, which is essential to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Shubham, did you know that from 2011 to 2015, Department of International Development mainstreamed resilience to natural disasters into its programs and plans. It took a flexible voluntary approach to mainstreaming, encouraging country offices to adapt the resilience agenda to their own priority. Despite some missed opportunities, this approach was broadly effective. There are four main types of disasters. First is natural disasters. These disasters include floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, and volcano eruptions that can have immediate impacts on human health as well as secondary impacts causing further death and suffering from floods causing landslides, earthquakes resulting in fires, tsunamis causing widespread flooding, and typhoons sinking ferries. The second is environmental emergencies. These emergencies include technological or industrial accidents, usually involving hazardous material, and occur where these materials are produced, used, or transported. Large forest fires are generally included in this definition because they tend to be caused by humans. The third is complex emergencies. These emergencies involve a breakdown of authority, looting, and attacks on strategic installations. Complex emergencies include situations like conflicts and wars. The fourth is pandemic emergencies. These emergencies involve a sudden onset of a contagious disease that affects health but also disrupts services and businesses, bringing economic and social costs. Disaster management is further organized into four phases. The first is mitigation, that is, actions taken to eliminate a hazard or reduce its potential impact. Second is preparedness, that is, planning for major emergencies, including training and exercises. Third is response, that is, actions taken in response to emergencies. And the fourth is recovery, that is, actions taken after a disaster to restore services and reconstruct communities.
This is the good definition in general, Anika, and very well explained. Resilience to disaster events involves anticipating, planning, and preparedness to effectively protect people and communities in all aspects of their lives, from health, well being, and relationship to cultural heritage, economic livelihood, and ecosystem. I will tell you, resilience is a term used in many disciplines with differing definition in disaster context. It also lacks a definite description. It can prove as process rather than outcome. This process involves continuous learning and adaptive technique moving towards shared understanding, with general aim of improving outcome and the potential to build back better. In fact, growing a necessity of future risks such as climate change and economic shocks.
So, Shubham, I'm just curious about what is disaster resilience. Can you please enlighten us about it?
Yes, as our social study educator explained in class that disaster resilience is ability of individuals, communities, organizations, and states to adapt to a recovery, hazard, shocks, and stress without comparing long-term prospect for development compromising long. According to Hagio framework for action, disaster resilience is determined by degree to which individual communities and public and private organizations are capable of organizing themselves to learn from past disasters and reduce their risk for future ones is international, regional, national, and local levels. Resilience is a part of broader concept of resilience that is ability of individuals, communities, and states of their institution absorb or recover from shock, positively adapting, transforming their structures and means for living in face of long-term change and unnecessity. When it comes to resilience community, the concept refers to ability community to withstand and manage an unexpected event, and it has become a key strategy at the local, state, and federal levels. People should be prepared in advance, protected from able to respond to before help arrives.
Shubham, can you please share why do you think community resilience is important?
Yes, Anika, why not? Communities are increasingly complex, and so are the challenges they face. Human caused and natural disasters are more frequent and costly. Factors like climate change, globalization, and increased urbanization can bring disaster related risks to greater number of people. Addressing these threats calls or approach that combines that we know about preparing for disaster which we know about action, the strengthened communities every day. Community resilience focus on enhancing day-to-day health and well-being of communities to reduce the negative impact of disaster. Resilient community that develop a high level of resilience are better able to withstand crisis event and have an enhanced ability to recover for ritual impact. Communities that possess resilience characteristics can also arrive on the other side of crisis in stronger position than pre-event. For example, community with well-researched emergency plans. Second, superior fire mitigation process in couple of months. Third, appropriate building control suitable in local hazard and risk. Fourth, to adopt personal and business financial management measure, example, insurance suitable and risk likely to suffer less during extreme fire event and likely to be able to recover quickly, physically, financially as a community. In case there is any disaster, we can build resilience within communities by following protocols that preparation, prevention, protection, response, and restoration.
Shubham, that was indeed very informative. Can you please explain these protocols in detail?
Yes, Anika, I will be delighted to explain these protocols. Preparation. Resilient system must be properly developed to fight extreme events through appropriate measure and action. Prevention. This measure should be planned in a way to ensure that loss does not happen in first place. Protection. In case loss happens, all protective measures should be activated and work properly in order to eliminate the negative impact of disaster response. the stage required to the quickness of entire system to provide effective emergency aid to vulnerable people. Restoration. When danger is over, the rebuilding part comes and should make sure that the lesson learned in order to ensure system is better prepared for future occasions.
So that is all we have for today. Thank you so much for the discussion we had now, and we are very thankful to everyone who joined us and showed their support. It is always good to discuss the topic relevant to the environment and community together. I have enjoyed it thoroughly, and I hope that our viewers might have found it very informative as well.
Thank you.